I think we've got one more. Charles. Charles, yeah, you can pronounce it. From Chubby Gorilla, that I can pronounce. Is that
Yeah,
is that an attempt to market to kids? Chubby?
No, actually.
Introduce yourself and please.
My name is Charles Archambeau. I actually am a native Michigander. Just moved back recently. Bought a house in Livonia. Grew up in Farmington Hills, class of '97 from Farmington High. Alma College, class of 2001. And I left almost immediately after graduation based on what I was seeing in the economy. And Representative Johnson has mentioned several times the backlash of black market and business fallout that we will see from this. Two gentlemen before me, he really touched on the point that I really wanted to get at today. Chubby Gorilla is actually the largest supplier of packaging to the industry globally. So to give you a scope of where we're at, the bottles you see every time you see a video, that's our patented design. But my focus for the company is I'm the director of sales for Europe, Russia, and Africa. I started selling e-juice like all my colleagues here stateside, and after the FDA ruled, I got a great opportunity to go overseas and work in a market where they actually set some standards instead of constantly shifting a guideline. The FDA ruled in 2016, we still have no real direction. The line is constantly moving. Michigan itself just enacted an 18 above. 2 years ago, that was on the ballot, didn't go through, or was brought up, it didn't go through. For whatever reasons, people tend to hide behind children, and this flavor, unfortunately, Representative LeGrand left. He used the term red herring several times, and I take offense to that because this flavor ban that you're talking about is the red herring in the room. What my colleague talked about with Juul and the nicotine levels and the insane level, 50 milligram per milliliter is a lot of nicotine for any person of any size to be taking in. And when we started after the FDA ruling here, everything went child marketing, child marketing, child marketing. That was the focus. Europe took a different approach. They restricted the nicotine levels to 20 milligram. And if you noticed earlier, one of our first speakers from the UK talked about how the teen and youth rate of usage was about a fifth of that here. Well, everybody's saying the flavors is what gets you in. It's what gets you in. Children, as we all know, which has been well established today, will try what they want to try. They will find a way to get on their hands on it. It's the 50 milligram US, and see, that's the other thing. Vaping is a technology. You have to distinguish between the types of it. It's a disruptive technology. It's a new technology. So I have in my pocket, one of them, my mod. Now, this is a sub-ohm device. Can anyone in this room actually tell me the difference between this and a Juul? That's a major problem if you're all going to plan on legislating on this. You don't know the difference in the technology. So the blanket statement, vaping's a problem. It's already been established. The deaths that Governor Whitmer used as the catalyst for this were from street illicit THC cartridges. Something unregulated and black market, which we know historically is a problem. Again, there's a lot of ways to do it. We talked about T21. I actually believe T21's a given eventually for the whole country. You could go that route. You could do the simple thing, and instead of going flavor ban across the board, do a 6 months temporary nicotine level and start testing those. All I've heard from all the scientists is how we don't have enough data, when there's actually 15 years worth of data out there and studies globally. And the problem with the focus is only what's going on here when we can look. I flew in from Johannesburg, South Africa. I had just done a vape exposition there. And I landed in a layover in Atlanta when I got the wonderful text messages about this announcement coming back. And I had literally just spent that whole weekend telling South African vapors, you can look to the US market as an example of what not to do. And it's sad because that's been my sales pitch for 3 years. Don't look at the US except as what not to do when it comes to regulating this industry. Why? I point it out all the time, and I understand why we get the brushback. We're a disruptive technology that's replacing the deadliest, most taxed consumer product that's ever existed. Of course, a lot of these other experts are funded by that other side. They need to keep their jobs. So they say it's the same merry-go-round. What if it's not the same merry-go-round? What if it actually is? Let's play. I always like to talk about, instead of just the cost of doing something, what about the cost of not doing it? And right now, the cost of banning this is exponential. It's actual real lives. When we've already seen that, again, the catalyst to what Governor Whitmer did is based off of illicit THC. And it's just as unfair to the legal marijuana industry as it is to us to pin those deaths on us, because it's street-made drugs. There's always a risk to that. And that's the real key. You put genuine manufacturing standards on of quality, which we're still waiting to hear from. So 2 years ago, they announced that we were going to have them, still don't have them. And you put a reasonable nicotine level restriction on it. And I also have zero problem with restricting the type of imagery that you can use on the bottles as well. I absolutely have zero tolerance, and you can ask anybody that knows me personally for anything remotely child marketing. I'm very disappointed that Rep. LeGrand is not here at the moment, because I also have a 15-year-old niece in a high school full of teens who vape. But see, unlike him, I didn't stop the conversation there. I continued to ask questions. And do you know what device that they were all using? The same one that you referred to. The little USB-looking one. That's Juul. That's the company who started the child marketing. Look it up. The FDA just called them out on it this week. You know, so there are so many signs that we're looking at, that we're seeing, and all I see from politicians stateside is connecting the wrong dots. If you want to save lives, if you want to help people in both generations, this industry, specifically flavors and a means to get off that nasty cigarette taste, is the way to do it. And there needs to be a lot more data done on this, but it was mentioned once about the strange correlation of children who do vape and then don't actually do any other illicit drugs. Don't drink, don't do marijuana, don't do a lot of other things. So again, if there's so much data that needs to be collected, why aren't we collecting it? Jumping to a ban is a knee-jerk reaction. And Governor Whitmer, she was so proud of herself when she said, you know, we're going to lead the way. We're going to change the nation on this. Yeah, we are. We're going to lead the nation right off a cliff and lead people right back to cigarettes. So that's really all I had. I wanted to offer you guys a perspective again, as my primary market is Europe, the only place that actually has any legal standards at the moment.
Thank you.